down here in the paddock with one of the top trainers, Erv Miller. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
My barn is in New Jersey now, but soon I'm from Illinois and soon to be back in Illinois probably if they get their slots passed and keep everything going like it sounds.
So you're kind of keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, because that's where my roots are from, my family's from. We've been there for years, so if things look good there, I'm sure we'll head back that way some point.
How many horses are you training, are you working with?
We're working with a little over 100 horses right now probably. We've got them a little bit of everywhere, a few back in Illinois. Some Illinois and Indiana breds back there, about 30 of them back there. Then there's, I'd say, about 75 in New Jersey, and we've got, I think, 15 in Canada right now.
So you guys are kind of all over. What is a day in the life of you like? What is your routine?
Uh, it's hard to explain when you're explaining yourself. I get up around 5:30 or 6. I'm at the barn by 6 o'clock every day, and we just go through the training. And I, first off in the morning, I go through the entries for the day, make sure we don't, miss any entries. I've got some people that make the entries for me, but I jot it down and get it all organized in the morning, and then we get to hit the racetrack, and we're normally done by off the track by 11:30 or 12. And then we continue to do the barn work and other things that need done.
Keeping an eye on where everybody's racing that night and how they finish, I can imagine.
I've got Dish Network or the Racing Day or something that I use to. I watch where all the horses are racing, how they race, try to make a judgment if they, race up to their potential that night.
Pacers, trotters, a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. I've had some luck with the trotters too. I like the trotters a lot, but I have good pacers too.
Any standout 2 or 3-year-olds that you have in the stake races here in Pennsylvania this year?
Yeah, I don't know. Swan in a Million's one that was third in the Breeders' Crown here last year, and he's just making his first start back here Friday night.
What goes into that decision to kind of stake a horse? Are you getting on there? Is it their personality, their behavior, their soundness, ability? What are you looking at?
It's all that. Their gait, their attitude, everything goes into that one. When right from the day we start with them, we start watching and then try to make the judgments call. It's a tough judgment to make on where to stake them and what different races, because it costs a lot of money to stake a horse.
No, absolutely. For people who don't know, give us a little background on yourself, how you first got involved in the sport.
I was actually raised Amish. I was a little Amish boy, so we had horses our whole life. And early on, my dad took us to a couple county fairs, and a lot of people were racing horses there. And I said, people make a living doing this? Are you kidding me? So I just picked up on that, and I went to work for a breeding farm, worked there about 6 years, and then started training horses.
Did you ever drive yourself?
Yeah, I did when I was younger, smaller. I used to drive, but I don't do that much anymore.
You obviously then you grew up around animals. What do you love about this sport?
It's just with the horses. The horse is a great animal to work with. They're unbelievably smart. They'll learn bad habits as well as good ones. If you teach them good ones, they'll come the right way, and if you teach them bad ones, they'll go the other way.
Now, your brother Andy is also one of the top drivers in the country, and I understand your son is starting out driving as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, he just started out in college, went through college, and started with the horses a little bit, and then he's just been into it a lot. Actually, Saturday night he won 6 out of the last 7 races at Balmoral, so he's really getting into the driving thing, likes it a lot, loves the sport, promotes it as best he can.
So he's out in the Midwest then.
Yeah, he's in Illinois, and he'll, the thoughts were if they don't get something done probably the next year or two, he'll be out here, but if they do get slots in Illinois, he'll probably stay back there.
Does he have similar colors to you? How did these come?
Colors, actually, yeah. He registered them, I didn't.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now. We call it the lightning round. So I'm going to hit you with a couple of questions just to get you to know you a little bit better off the track. So tell us what your favorite food is.
Used to be steak and potatoes. I used to eat steaks all the time, but now it's probably lobster. I've got into where I try to eat seafood to eat a little healthier and not get any heavier than I already am.
They're both good choices, though. You can't go wrong with either steak or lobster.
Yeah.
Good taste there. What about your first job?
Actually, my first job was 2 weeks out of 8th grade. The Amish kids only go to 8th grade in school. And 2 weeks out of 8th grade, I went to work at that breeding farm. With the permission of my parents, they wanted me to go, or would let me go if I came home every weekend. So I did that for a while. As I got a little older, of course, I didn't go home every weekend, and that's how I got into the horse racing. But But that was my first job, working on a breeding farm for 6 years.
Very interesting. What about a favorite TV show? Anything that you watch?
2.5 Men. That's the only one.
What are you gonna do now that Charlie Sheen isn't on the show anymore? Ashton Kutcher. What do you think of the replacement?
I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. He was one of a kind.
You're right about that. One of a kind is a good way to sum up Charlie Sheen. What about hobbies? Do you have anything outside of the sport?
I do. Yeah, I like playing golf, actually, quite a bit. So I played a couple of outings. Actually, my daughter had the longest drive the other day at the outing, the Horseman's outing in New Jersey.
That's congrats to her. A dream vacation for you. What would that entail? Where would you be?
Boy, I don't know. Playing golf somewhere with, I don't know. I actually took up a little fishing down the Gulf this past winter, so I might try that too.
Cool. And if you had an extra 30 minutes in your day to spend however you would like, how would you spend it?
Boy, that's
Extra time to yourself. It's got to be hard to come by.
yeah. I don't do that very much. Most of the time, if I have any extra time, I'm watching replays of races or something.
Okay. And any idols? Any mentors? Anybody you look up to?
A lot of people in this sport. I don't know. Exactly who I'd say the first one. I think Brett Belling was a great trainer back in his day, and there was a lot of good trainers before my time that I really didn't know very well. But I wouldn't. Brett Pelling had a lot of horses and did a good job managing. I'd say he's one of them.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. We wish you the best of luck all throughout the season and for years to come. Hopefully we can catch up with you again.
There you go. Thanks. Hopefully. Here.
Absolutely.